Good morning. So this morning we're going to talk about the value of mentoring and the value of sponsorship. We're going to add sponsorship to this since we've already had lots of conversations about sponsorship. And we thought it would be really fun to have two mentors, two mentees, two sponsors, two people that the leaders in organizations felt that they had enough confidence in to bring today. So to my right, we have Angelica Fuentes, CEO of Omnilife-Angelissima-Chivas from Mexico, and her mentee, Alba Medina Flores, Vice President of the Board of Grupo. Welcome. And to my left, all the way from Brazil, we have Denise Pavarina, Deputy Managing Director, Banco Bradesco and Chairman of the Brazilian Financial and Capital Markets Association. Let me just say, she's the most powerful woman in the financial sector in Brazil. That's an easier way to think about it. And she's really cool, too. And her mentee, Regina Delalamo, who's the Executive Superintendent, Bradesco BBI. So I want to welcome both of you, all four of you. And I want to start by just saying, you know, I'm the product of a lot of luck in my career. And one of the luckiest things that ever happened to me was I had a sponsor. And the sponsor that I had was the president of the Manufacturers Hanover Trust Company, who I met. And through a whole series of interactions about Mexico before the Mexican debt crisis in 1982, I ended up being involved, being called that Sunday morning when Mexico couldn't pay its debt by the chairman of the bank. And he became my mentor and my sponsor. And that is how I, a woman at 28, ended up running the worldwide restructuring department of Manufacturers Hanover, because he had a personal connection with me, and he went out on the line, and when everybody else said, wait a second, we've got these 10 men that are qualified for the job, he said, what do you mean 10 men qualified for the job? This is a whole new area, and she's been working in it for the last 4 months, and so she knows more about this than anybody, and we're going to give her a chance. And so without that person, I never would be where I am today. Extraordinary person. I would have brought him today, except sadly he passed away a few years ago. So I feel that I, and frankly many women of my generation, are really the results of a male deciding, because there were no females, frankly, to have confidence in me. But it meant that throughout my life and throughout my career, I had to perform. I always had to be the best at what I was doing and stand out and be there for them. Many things I didn't do, like ask for money or other things, because I just felt that you didn't step out of your box in those days like you do today. But I had an opportunity. And so today we're going to talk about, or talk to Angelica and Denise about their experience, and we're going to talk as well to their mentees. So let me start with Angelica. Angelica, you brought Alba with you today as your mentee. What made Alba stand out to you, and why did you decide that you should trust her, you should work with her, she should be your mentee, or you should be your sponsor?
Well, with Alba, it was quite wonderful, because it was not me looking for Alba to be my mentee, but we were at the Expansión 50 Most Powerful Women in Mexico, and Alba came directly up to me and said, I want you to be my mentor. I would like to learn from you. And I looked at her and I said, wow, she's someone I want to be a mentor to. I mean, being so direct, raising her hand saying, I want you to guide me through my career, I thought was great. Alba was also, at her very young age, one of the 50 most powerful women as well. And And I know Alba. I've known her for a while. I know her father as well. And Alba has what it takes to truly be successful as a woman. She has it very clear. She's hardworking. She's still preparing herself. She knows what it takes to be out there. We are both Latino women. We're both Mexican. We know how tough it has been, but we also have a great drive, and that's what I saw with her. But especially it was her being so direct with me that I absolutely was moved to be a part of her life right now. So that's what moved me.
Tell me, why did you walk up to Angelica and say, I want you to be my mentor?
Well, after reading Sheryl Sandberg's book, I remember when she writes that she didn't like when people ask her to mentor someone. But I said, at this event, I said, I have to take the risk. I have nothing to lose, but the upside of having a high caliber woman like Angelica guiding me throughout my professional career. And I'm very glad that I took the risk. And I'm here thanks to her, and I'm very grateful for that.
What was the special characteristic in Angelica that you said, wow, this is who I want as my mentor?
Well, I've always admired Angelica, and it's been a long time since I've been admiring her. And I admire her direct leadership style, and most importantly, her honesty. She's always been a very open woman, and she's someone that has the courage to be different. And she has the strength of being a great decision maker, but also she's a warm and sensitive personality. So that makes her a great leader, and I want to follow her steps. I also want to be a socially responsible leader and someone that is constantly confronting her comfort zone in order to increase the quality of life of both specific individuals and in the global context. I want to make the sum total of my experiences available to other women, and I want to make a contribution to society. I have personally experienced what it is to be under the crystal ceiling of a male-dominating society. And that's why I want to take action, and I want to open more opportunities for women, especially in Latin America.
Thank you. Denise, your experience in looking for mentees, sponsoring women, in a large company, it's different than in a more entrepreneurial setting. So you've chosen, and you're working with Regina. What stood out? How did you meet Regina? What were your interactions? How did you decide to be Regina's mentor, sponsor, etc.?
Well, I think in our case, the mentoring was very intuitive. We don't have yet a formal mentoring process, but of course, when you are running a business, you pay attention to everybody that's working with you. I know Regina for many years because I've been with Bradesco for 28 years. I didn't have the experience of some of my colleagues presented here changing jobs, but I had in the same company changing jobs internally. And so you learn how to pay attention to the talents that you have, because we have an in-house development career system. We hire just a few people from outside of the company, but we do have to develop people inside. And Regina has things that for me are very important when you're looking to the ones that you should stimulate. She's a hard worker. I think nobody that's not a hard worker will get someone to support you in your career or in your life. So she's a hard worker, and she carries these sparkling eyes for everything she does. She's always available. She's always for everything that's constructive. She is always there for me. And so I think she's not only for me, but for her team. She's a real team leader. Her liderados.
Yeah, her leadership.
The leadership love her. They just love her. So she's charismatic and very caring about each other. So I think she's always trying to bring new things
to improve the business. And I think someone with these skills really should be paid attention. And that's how I got Regina.
So before I move on and ask Regina the question, I want to go off message a little bit. And you've been with Bradesco for 28 years.
Yes.
And you are one of the top executives and a leader in the financial sector in Brazil. Who helped you? And how did you get there?
I think you brought this subject of sponsorship. It's so important, as much as the mentoring, because you build sponsorship along of your life, because you are correct, you had the right action in the right moment, you are there for people, and so you have to have a net of sponsors. You don't have to have one sponsor. It's very important that you are going to create along the life a net of sponsors, people that will talk for you whenever you need someone to talk about you, not only one person. Actually, you should never depend on one person. It can be your ruin if you depend on one person. But someone was very special in the beginning of my career. It was a man, which I still love him. He's a great man. He actually looked at me and he saw something that I didn't see, I didn't know, and he started to bring me very close to him, and he taught me a lot of things by example. By example, it's how we teach people, and he was very strong, a visionary, and he didn't fear anything. He was sometimes too above the limits that anybody would go in a bank like ours, which is very conservative. We have a very conservative society, even though it doesn't look like. When you go to these subjects, we are very conservative. But he believed in me and brought me together with him in all single business, because I started investment banking. I was investment banking from 28 years, 22 or 23 years. So my career is investment banking and asset management, basically. And so what we did were business. And so I think he was very important, because he never looked at me, don't take me wrong, but as a woman. I was just a professional at his side that was running with him, following his rhythm, and so come with me, and he didn't pay attention if I was a man or woman. I was just there for him. And so we are very good friends. His name is Roger Agnelli, and he was the CEO of Vale do Rio Doce, but before that, he was my boss for 15 years at Bradesco. So I'm very proud of him, of what he has done, and to be with him in the beginning of my career.
And we'll get you with Roger one day. Roger's fabulous.
He's fabulous.
Real talent.
You all love him. He's fabulous. and handsome.
And handsome. Yes. Regina, so you've been working with Denise for how long, and how is she helping you, being your mentor?
Yes, my history is interesting. Before I joined the financial market, I had my own business. I had a clothing factory for 8 years. And for several reasons, I decided to close down and join to the financial market. And I was old, 28 years old. And I joined Bradesco, and I worked, I think, 8 years with male leadership. And I learned a lot, but when Denise took on Bradesco Asset Management, she learned me a lot. She taught me how to perceive assets and manage my emotion, which enables me to be more assertive in decision making and help me to deal with conflicts. I was so sentimental before Denise. I cried a lot. When I had a problem, I got to the bathroom and cried. So Denise she was very good for me. And she also taught me how to set limits without losing pleasantness, and it was so important. And she helped me to be more flexible without losing the sense of having to get things done. And it was very good.
Outstanding. What?
Nice.
Angelica, I asked Denise if she had a mentor, and she told us about her mentor. Can you tell us about yours?
I did not have a mentor as such. Of course, you know, when I was starting to work, this was many years ago, there was not even the word mentor mentioned. And my indirect mentor, I would have to say, because I come from a family business, that's where I first started off, was my father. Without him knowing what he was doing, without me consciously either knowing what I was learning, he kind of created what I did with the businesses. I would kind of stuck to him whenever he went to the office and or different places. I would go with him. And he thought, well, you know, my young daughter's just, you know, wanting to spend some time with me. Yes, that was part of the reason, but the other one was that I think unconsciously I was really wanting to learn, because I had always liked, and I always knew and I always thought that I wanted to be a part of the business. So he taught me how to follow through on every single thing that I did, because I saw him doing that. He taught me how to negotiate, because I would sit down and keep my mouth shut the whole time and just learn from him. So it was a very indirect, not looked for mentoring, but I think my mentor was basically my father, and by me sticking to him and just keeping very quiet, I learned a lot. I would have to say my mother was a mentor as well, even though she just stayed home. She understood that women had to learn a lot more than what my father and the male within the family thought women should do. I started working at a very young age at a gas station, and of course they thought it was just, oh yeah, she's just entertaining herself. You know, let's let her do that. But one of the things that I really thank my father doing for me was that he said, you want to work, you go there, but you will follow through just like any other employee. The instant you come back and complain about anything, you're out. So he taught me a lot, you know, with him being very straightforward and very honest in telling me, you want to work, you will be just like any other employee. You're not going to have any special concessions because you're my daughter. So I think it was through him, you know, in life, just watching him and being next to him that I was mentored.
So Alba, what's the most important thing that you believe you're going to get out of your relationship with Angelica? What are you looking for her to help you with?
Well, I like that Angelica is a woman that takes into action what she believes. Because a lot of women say that they are helping women, but they are not really doing something concrete. And she is doing a lot of concrete things to help other women. And I admire that congruency. Also, in my environment, I haven't seen a lot of women helping other women. And I feel very grateful that Angelica is making the difference. And it's really opening my eyes to some aspects that were previously blind spots to me. I have learned so much in such a short period of time because she has been very open to me. She has also given me very important pieces of constructive feedback that, you know, nobody gives you negative constructive feedback. And the fact that someone comes to you and is open and honest and tell you, hey, you have to work on this, you have to work on that, that is really something that I value. Thank you.
And how about you, Regina?
Also, Denise, I think that she promoted me an open channel to share my thoughts, my concerns. She always gives feedback to me, and I admire her a lot. And she's the woman that she likes to take a decision, and I want to follow her steps.
So Denise, in a large organization, you come across a lot of young men and women.
Yes.
And how many young people are you helping in the organization and are you really supporting, and how selective are you, and do you see the difference between being a mentor and being a sponsor?
Well, yes. As I said, a sponsor is something that you build along your life, internally and externally, because we kind of say that we have a saving account of good things that you do for each other. And whenever you do something for someone, even if you didn't mean it, you just did it because you think was right, this will count on your saving accounts of good things. And whenever you don't do it, you'll be a minus in your account. So this yes, that's about sponsorship. So when you do this many times for many people, you are building your network of sponsorship. That's very important. It has to be natural. It has to be natural. It has to be something from you and from the people to you. But I think, as I said, we are in a large corporation. We have 107,000 employees at Bradesco. And it's a wide nation, country, bank, I'm sorry. And we have 4,700 branches around the country. So it's impossible for me to see everybody. It's a shame, but it's impossible. But I see a lot of guys and a lot of girls that are brilliant, that are really willing to grow. And because I'm open, that's my nature. I'm very open. Everybody comes to me. Everybody talks to me. They feel free to talk to me. That's maybe one good thing that I'm able to do. And so everybody comes to me to ask for an opinion, an advice, and I don't choose anybody to give an advice or an opinion. Of course, I know who is who, and I may help indirectly the ones that I think really have a future, but I never deny help or advice or feedback. I'm very good at feedback. Actually, I exercise. Don't ask me my opinion because I will give.
So Angelica, you have amazing business all over Latin America, and you're kind of a rock star when you get up and you talk to women across Latin America. And so when you're doing that, and you have lots of employees in lots of countries, but it's kind of almost a franchisee model, how do you meet these women, and how do you help them, and as individuals that you might pick out and say, gee, this is the woman I want to help in Peru, or I want to mentor in Peru?
Well, I do give out a lot of mentoring, kind of formally, informally, but not follow up on all of it, because I do a lot of conferences for women. In Lima, we were there, I gave a conference to 15,000 women. Most of the women I speak with are at the base of the pyramid. I truly believe that these women are the future of those social movements on a peaceful way, but very powerful, to have their economies moving on forward. So I always talk to women about their true power, which comes from within. Power to me has nothing to do with what you have on the outside, because the instant that's taken away, then you feel powerless. Power to me is when you truly own yourself, therefore you own your present, and you have control of your future. So that's what I talk to them. I talk to women about all those preconceived ideas and those conceived cultural ideas that are not, or do not need to be present anymore. They need to change. So it's very important for me to have this contact with them. And again, it's not how I choose them, because there are a lot of women. I'm going to be going to Colombia and to Ecuador, and a few in Mexico within the next couple of months. But it's when they decide that they really want to follow up on, I usually do emails, not so much on the telephone, and I follow up on them. I also follow up on a radio program that I have. It's through internet, and I have a lot of women that come in and chat through the internet while I speak with them, and that's how I follow up on one woman, but I always have something very clear in my mind. Most of those women have the exact same problems that I had. And there's so many other women that have the exact same problems they had. And by me sharing it with one and her sharing it with somebody else, it just becomes this incredible networking of women working with women. I want to mention something very important. It is true, and I do know that in the United States a little less, but in Latin America, women work against women. They don't understand that the only person they need to compete with is with themselves. Not with men, but especially not with women. Those are things and those are barriers that as women we need to break. Women need to work with and for women. And I truly always remind the women of their need once they feel truly empowered, once they truly feel they own themselves, that they owe other women to feel the exact same way they felt when they finally clicked in and they said, I'm here and this is who I am. And I think that that's a social responsibility that women have to share with other women. When you truly feel you have something to share with others, we need to do that. You know, women just holding out their hands out to other women. And that's basically how I do it. They write back to me. I follow up on some of them, but I always give them that advice. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it with other women. There's so many other women just like you, needing, you know, a supporting hand, needing, you know, this type of advice as well. So
that's the negative criticism that is shared with a lot of women in this country as well, that women don't help women. And I think instead of looking at the negative side, women should just help other women, right, and reach out and mentor and sponsor other women. But that is certainly a commentary in this country as well. Denise, do you agree with that?
Sure. I think, first of all, we are our main obstacle. We ourselves are our main obstacle. But if we don't share the things we learn, the things we are passing through, everybody will feel like you're just talking, your problem is the most strange of the world. And when we saw this morning, I'm sure that everybody had the same feeling I had. It doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter the life you had, that we have the same problems, the same thinking and challenges adapted to one story or other. But we are about the same. So why not to share the solution, how we got around? More than solution, we always get around. I think it was Sonia that she said you should never try to confront people. If you were a man, you would confront. But if you're a woman, you get around and you go to the same place with no noise. So I think these things we have to try to share. And I do a lot. I have a lot of friends in work, not only friends, but friends in work, ladies that I talk to a lot, and because I became this chairman of this association, that's a male association, I can tell you. I was the first one that is 33 years old. Anna is here representing our association too. They had never a woman as a chairwoman. And so I think this is something that I want to share with these ladies. That's why even Anna is here with me, because we want to learn this process and transmit to the ladies in financial markets, which is still a very masculine market.
Angelica wants to
I have something that I wanted to add on, and you just mentioned part of it. What's also very important for me is that we don't leave men out. Yes. I think that as women move along and women, you know, take on their own power and different positions within executive levels or being entrepreneurs, we cannot just discard men and believe that we can do it on our own. I also teach men, because I do a lot of speaking to men as well, mainly women, but I also tell them that they need to be a part of this empowerment of women, because that also empowers them. And as women, we cannot forget, we're not here alone. Men and women have different talents. We need to work together and learn how to work together to get things done. 'Cause sometimes I hear the very young generations thinking that they need to leave the men to the side and be out there on their own. It's not going to work. We need to understand that we need of each other. on an equitable way to move ahead in our societies, in business, and in everything we want to do.
Well, I think it's what Sally said earlier on. It's about diversity.
Absolutely.
And diversity makes people or causes a situation where better decisions are made. Absolutely. And where companies are more profitable and people are happier, frankly. Mm-hmm. Regina, so you've had a great role model. That would be Denise. Are you reaching out? Do you have mentees? And how are you reaching out within the organization to a younger group of professionals and helping them?
Yes. Now I'm in charge of a new position. I have 200 employees, and I am a mentor of this team, and I'm trying all the time to share my experience, to work in a team, to do a team building, and this is my essence. I like to work in a team and share my my thoughts. And what's always worried with this.
And what's been your most important experience in making who you are as a professional? Tell us a little bit about ¿qué es su experiencia más importante como profesionales?
This is the moment that I am now. I am in a new position. I'm in charge of accounting, finance, IT, compliance area. Wow. that serves Bradesco Asset Management, private banking, investment banking, and securities and corporate department. So this is this is the moment that I have a great challenge.
And are there a lot of women in the department?
Yes, I have, and I like to work with women.
Fabulous. And Alba, are you reaching out to other women?
Yes, of course. As I said previously, I had very tough experiences when I was younger, and I don't want to leave that again. And I want to really help other women. And we imposed a women quota in the organization. And right now, even though there are very few women at the top, 51% of the employees of the company are women. So that's a great start.
That's a great start. Can we take some questions from the audience? Let's see, does anybody? Yes, way back there. Just identify yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Alex, and I'm a researcher at Catalyst, which is a leading global nonprofit about advancing women in business. Very cool to hear some of our research already cited this morning, actually. So we know that sponsorship is a really important and wonderful thing for women when we're building our careers. But we also, our research shows that sponsorship is beneficial for the sponsor just as much as it is sometimes for the sponsee, and that sponsorship can be seen as a leadership quality. And I'm just wondering for the two sponsors up there what you have learned from your proteges, from the women that you have mentored. What lessons have you gotten from that experience?
Did you hear that?
No.
What she said was that she works for Catalyst, and Catalyst promotes women in business. And her question was that mentoring is not just good for the mentee, but it's also good for the mentor.
Right.
And because it shows leadership qualities. And so I think your question is, what have you learned?
Yeah, what have you learned from being a mentor from the women that you mentor?
What have you learned about being a mentor from the women you have mentored? You want to start, Angelica?
Yes. One of the things that I've learned from the women that I've mentored is how different things are now than they were then. And when they tell me about their experiences or how they're doing things or how they want to do things, sometimes then I come back to my own organization and I change it a little because of what they're telling me. And you know, I think it's a win-win situation. You learn from your mentee, the mentee learns from you, but it's usually these new ideas from these newer generations and how they're seeing and perceiving the workforce that has helped me also make some changes within the organization, which I find very important. Something else is that how you're seeing their lives, because I don't think a mentor should only mentor on the professional end of it, because it's your personal life that also, or that plays, if not the most important part, a very important part of how you develop yourself in the in your professional careers. But it's how they are looking into their present and what they want for their future that I also change within the corporation, so I can put and implement rules and make, especially for women, but you know, on the way, men also may have benefit of implementing a more balanced professional, personal life. And it's been a lot with my mentees that I've learned what it is that they're looking for, because even though I'm like Denise, I'm very open with, you know, all of the staff for Grupo, a lot of them usually don't come up and talk to you about what they really need. So I've taken a lot of that of advice of the mentees at very different ages. They're not all just very young, but it's been very helpful. Denise?
I think I said that I'm good at feedback, but I think the best thing I get from the people I try to help with mentoring is feedback all the time, because we women, we like to share opinions, as you know. So whenever I talk to someone, they would bring me their view of things that, you know, when you're growing, you're in a leading position, you are very alone many times. And so these ladies, not only ladies, to be very honest, because I talk to everybody, but I think they are more straight to you, so they bring me a vision that I sometimes couldn't see in that way, or some things that I couldn't perceive because I'm many times so busy, and they bring me to me. And I think is they are looking at me, and they tell me what the message I'm sending to people, what I should correct, because sometimes you make mistakes when you send messages, or you're so busy that you don't send any message. You should send a message. So I think women are good because they bring you everything that's going on, how it is, very straight, and help you to be better. And so I think it's always a learning process. Both back and forth is a very good learning process.
Adele.
Hello, Adele Galpo from Pfizer. I'm going to ask you guys a question I got yesterday. I was on a leadership panel, and there was women from all sorts of large corporations, from 50,000 to 120,000 IBM. And sponsorship came up, as we all know, it's so important. The question is, how do you scale it inside your corporation? If we know it's so important, and we know there's tons of women coming up the ranks, do you have any interesting solutions to ensure that there are a growing number of appropriate sponsors for the talent pool that's coming up? Are there any tricks that you do to accomplish that?
We are very fortunate at our company, because there is a lady. We are increasing the number of ladies in leading position, but there is this lady that is in charge of human resources, and she's very open-minded, and everything she does is very modern, and is a way of our time. So I think this lady is with us. I mean, we work very closely. She's spreading through the ladies that we have in the company this concept that you can do it. So, and I've been giving a lot of speeches internally, not only externally because of ANBIMA, which is the association I mentioned, but internally to really inspire the ladies that they can do it too. If we did it, anybody can do it. So I think that's the way that we are carrying these things internally. We created what we call Unibrad, which is a University Bradesco. That's an internal university, and with that we have a really systematic training programs for ladies, for men, for this segment, that segment. So we have many programs internally.
Regina, do you have anything to add to that before I look to? Do you have anything to add? Agrega? No, no.
How we've been doing, you know, my life with Omnilife-Angelissima-Chivas has been very recently. It's only been a little over 6 years. I had to actually go back to very basics. One of them was implementing equal gender model. I mean, just going to basics. And I'm the biggest promoter of women within the corporation. We have over 10 directoras in our group, 14 managers, and we have 10 under subdirectoras. I don't know the exact word in English for that.
Subdirectors.
Right, subdirectors. And I'm the biggest promoter for women. I do a lot of speaking to the women within the corporation, including the men. And I do talk to the men a lot. And I tell them, you need to promote the man or the woman who really is giving you the results. And I'm constantly reminding them that the woman should also be taken into consideration. It's very tough, and I don't know if Denise has this problem within her organization, but it's very tough when a woman's the CEO of a group, because men kind of have a little resistance, women have it worse. It's tougher, and I've really seen it in both cases that I've been with my family's group and now with Omnilife. You know, it's a little tougher sometimes for women to accept and to work with another woman, because you know that instilled competition against women is still, you know, very present. But I'm breaking barriers within our corporation, and I really, really believe in women. And I think that when others, men and no women, see and feel, especially feel, that a woman is very pro-woman, that she's not just saying it just, you know, to be a part of this movement. I think that's very powerful, and I think that allows others to also become a part of your philosophy, because it's good for the company.
Alba, do you have anything to add?
I feel that it's very hard to force mentorship and to force sponsorship. I think that it's also a matter of chemistry. You have to really admire your sponsor or admire your mentor. And your mentor has also have to see something in you. It has to be a win-win situation, and you have to always work very hard to fulfill his expectations or her expectations. So I think it's also a matter of chemistry. You can implement it in the company, but it won't work unless you have something in common with the other person.
I'm very proud. We have a lot of women who work here. We have more women, I think, than men. What last question? Right back here. Patricia. Right there, Patricia. Entonces, vamos a tomar dos preguntas. Let's take two questions at once, and it'll be the end.
Mine's short. I just, Patricia Menendez, I just wanted to thank you guys, because it is difficult to do what you're doing on any given day, and then to be so committed to mentoring women and kind of sending the message is great. And Angelica, I just wanted to pick up on something that you had said. Susan and I are part of the gender parity group, as is Margarita and a couple of others in this room. What was very interesting is we had an experiment once where we had 100 people in a room. There was 50 men, 50 women, and they ran all these implicit bias tests, and they asked you to answer these questions in a little thing. What do you think of this? What do you think the role of women is? 80% of it came out with a bias, about women, and by definition, there were 50 women in the room. And so by the end of the conference, by the end of the session, I kind of thought to myself that maybe the women had voted against the women more than the men did about the women. So your point about mentoring and having men come along is very important, because there are a number of men who have mothers, who have sisters, who have daughters, and that really want to be part of this and be part of the mentoring process. And it's identifying those people that we can help kind of move the issue along. And then on the women to women issue, to see two mentors with mentees, where you see it kind of multiplying on a pyramid effect, is really nice to see. So I just want to thank you, Denise and Angelica, both.